Now we're really gonna test you here, Alex.
Oh boy.
Now we're really gonna test you here. I feel like you've endeared yourself to the first of the floor fans pretty well, I'd say today. But Jayson Tatum kind of more or less is gonna decide whether or not the Celtics win a title. Awesome, Porzingis comes in, make some changes here or there, but him, if he plays at the level he's capable of in the Warriors series, they probably win the title. Ironically, I thought he was the best player in the Heat series. The problem was Jalen didn't come along for the ride. Obviously, he hurt his ankle in Game 7, but he was putting Jimmy Butler in a locker by the time Game 6 of that series was here. But where do you have Tatum ranked going into next season? Yeah.
In regards to what you said about him hurting his ankle in that Game 7,
Yeah.
I can say this now because the game is over and I have nothing at stake. I am 100% confident Jayson Tatum does not hurt his ankle in the beginning of that game. They win that game. I am painfully. I was going into that game. I was telling all my friends, I'm like, they're gonna do it. It's gonna happen. And then Jayson Tatum hurt his ankle, and I was like, that's it. It's not happening. And
Yep.
Hindsight's 2020. I can say that now because I have nothing at stake here. But
Sure.
I think the Warriors finals thing where he just completely looked like a different player. People talk about the wrist stuff and they're like it wasn't a real thing and he didn't end up getting surgery, and I'm like, regardless of that, either way, whether you think it was real, whether you think it was fake, he just was not doing what you expect of Jayson Tatum. He just looked like a different player. I think whether or not his wrist was hurt, I think he would have still looked like a different player. It just was not. He was not there. Something was not right.
To me, it was mental exhaustion. It was the Game 7 against Milwaukee, the Game 7 series against the Heat, and then to go into another insanely difficult defensive situation with Draymond. I think he wasn't ready for it. That's okay.
Yeah. That's got to be just brutal to have to go through that constantly. Not only is it a physical roller coaster, there's an emotional roller coaster there too. You're fighting, you're not literally fighting for your life, but you're fighting for your life every single game out there. And I think this year, I'm a big believer in you have to go through the fire before you become that guy, before you got to take your punches before you can, be the champ. And at this point, it's kind of how many more bruises does Jayson Tatum need to take before it happens? And the thing is, he has become that guy. You look at his numbers over the past 2-3 seasons, and it's he's an incredible player. He's one of the 10 best players in the NBA right now, no question. And this year, the thing that stood out to me throughout the entire regular season was the fact that he looked much more comfortable getting to the rim and finishing. The mid-range stuff with Tatum is kind of becoming a theoretical thing, and I'm not going to hold my breath anymore, but I've kind of went on a rant about it on Twitter today about how 3-level scoring is kind of overrated anyways. I don't think Jayson Tatum needs to be a good mid-range shooter to be a top 5, top 3 player in the NBA. It's just not necessary. If he gets there, fine, great, that's awesome. If he doesn't, I don't care that much. He can still, based on what he's shown us and what he's shown us that he's capable of doing and the versatility that he has from top to bottom, it's he can still be a top 3 player in the NBA.
I think that third level is less the mid-range and more the post-up. I think, what's the other option if the three ball's not happening, if he's having issues at the rim? He was really good in the post last year, annoyingly good, considering how little they put him down there. Mm-hmm. And then the floater, it was better last year. It was still not good, but he's really only started doing it last year. Was really the first time it was part of his bag. But we're gonna have to nail this down, Alex. I think it's fair that tier 1 is Jokic, Steph, and Giannis. In my opinion, that's an unassailable tier 1. Maybe, to me, that's tier 1. And then tier 2 is just a big tier now, where it's Tatum, Luka, KD. I would say Luka and Tatum at 4 and 5 is safe for me. I think KD, your time is over, old man. Embiid, I think now you're in prove it mode in the playoffs, otherwise it doesn't matter. And then it's Booker, Jimmy, LeBron, Embiid, AD tier, but they're all kind of in like the same tier to me, and that's like 11 total guys. But yeah, like, do you agree that with that kind of premise?
I think he's top end of the second tier easily.
Yeah.
Like, that's not. I think the question now is like, obviously Steph, Giannis, Jokic. That's a tough group to hang with just because of everything that we've seen. But like, that is not unattainable. Maybe not this year, but a couple years from now. Like, I have pretty full confidence Tatum's going to end up being a tier 1 player at some point in his career. And this year, if there was like a tier 1A and tier 1B, like Tatum's easily tier 1B. Like, I would have him top 5 player in the NBA right now, like comfortably, like not a question.
Yeah, this is the question that all Celtics fans want you to answer right here. Tatum and Luka, because I think that's, of the next two guys, to me, those are the two most obvious guys to like become surefire tier 1 guys year in, year out.
I probably would not have Kevin Durant top 5. That's my hot take. So I think like Luka would probably be 4, just because like two-way wise, like Jayson Tatum's better, but like Luka's just he doesn't make sense. Like, he's ridiculously an incredible player. Like, the stuff that he does is unreal. But I would have Tatum over Kevin Durant, because I think Tatum just does more for you right now. Like, Kevin Durant's kind of turning into, honestly, I say turning into, but like
he doesn't get to the rim.
He's got to share like he can't be the number 1 guy anymore. And that's not saying that he's like not good enough to, but like he's shown that he is not willing to. So if you're not willing to, I'm going to operate under the assumption that guys who are willing to and guys that are doing that thing as the number 1 guy and like confidently like driving the bus, as much as that whole discourse was a little bit ridiculous to me. Like, yeah, I'd have Tatum over Kevin Durant right now, just because you're getting more defense. He is able to he's not, I don't want to say able to have the ball in his hands more, but like he is doing more with the ball in his hands than Kevin Durant is. Like, Kevin Durant's basically like someone else is going to bring the ball up the floor. Like, Kevin Durant will operate within the flow of your offense, and he will do it very, 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 very well. But Jayson Tatum's going to run your offense. He's going to be like the fulcrum on which you build your seesaw or whatever.
Yeah, and I think 2 years in a row now, I think like KD's been kind of underwhelming in the playoffs. So I think, and it's not. He had an Achilles injury after 30 years old, and like he's probably the athlete that's recovered the best in history from that injury. He's still been so awesome, but the fact is he's 34 years old. He had sprained his knee 2 years in a row as well now. Like, he's just not quite at that level, I think, now. But yeah, I mean, Spooney, where are you on the Luka Tatum thing? Because I do think it's totally fair to have Luka ahead of Tatum, but I do think that they're right there, just because of what Tatum brings you on the other end.
I think they're closer than probably the non-Celtics fans think. But because, like, look, man, like, I know people are like, Luka's better defensively in the playoffs. Yeah, so he's, like, below average instead of, like, not trying. Tatum is legitimately one of the best wing defenders in the NBA. Like, there's a lot of value there. So I would, it's almost impossible. It's more about, like, what your team needs. I think, like... But I'm a homer. Give me Tatum. Whatever. He's done it. So he's gotten this team to the Eastern Conference Finals how many times? Like, at some point, like, the results just kind of have to speak for themselves. Look, if Luka goes out and wins a title next year, he's probably the best player in the NBA at that point. So I think it's just more about results. As opposed to skill set for me, because there's just really different players too, so it's kind of hard to evaluate. Luke is essentially a point guard. He's just really big. So and Tatum's not. He's more of an off-ball guy. So I flip a coin, but give me Tatum. I'm a homer.
Fair enough. And I'm never going to argue with that.
I do think it's fair to wonder about Luka's play style. I think we've got it in the chat here, and if he's capable or willing. I'm not sure, because like with Slovenia, it's the Luka show, Helio, as it should be specifically with Slovenia. But this is an interesting year for the Tatum-Luka discourse just because Porzingis is coming to the Celtics now. And it flamed out famously where they had to trade Porzingis for pennies on the dollar. And, you see Brunson leave and have a career year, obviously slightly different role, but is Luka elevating players around him? Because on its face, you're like, yeah, playing with Luka's great, but really it's like playing with Harden right now. When you're playing offense with Luka. Whereas I do think Luka's that good on offense where he has a Jokic. He has the mind, he has the IQ, he has the feel to play not the same exact way, obviously, because Jokic is 7 feet. But I don't see why Luka wouldn't be able to create far more of a team-centric offense as opposed to what he's doing right now. And if he's able to unlock that piece, that would be where I think he goes to a new level. Whereas Tatum, I think it's like, you come and play with Tatum, you come get paid, whether it's Gordon Hayward or Al Horford going to get paid in Philly and coming back, like Derek White having his best season as a pro. I think it's proven that guys can play at a really high level with Tatum. So I lean Tatum, but I think it's super close. I think those are the two guys though. Like, can one of those two guys comfortably enter tier 1 this year? Yeah. There is going to be one more leap, I think, for Tatum. I just don't know if it's going to be this year because he's 25, but he'll be better again this year, I think. But is that now? Oh wow, we've got prime Tatum. Is that going to happen this year, next year, the year after? It's hard to say. The fact that he's only 25 still is pretty crazy, but we'll see. I appreciate that, Rob Montana calling me smart in the chat. It's what I just spend most of my life thinking about every day. So.
All right, Alex, we have taken up a lot of your time, dude. I just want to say, we really appreciate it. This was awesome. We will definitely be back in touch, whether you like it or not. So thank you so much. Why don't you tell everybody where they can find you?
Alex Hoops on YouTube, Alex Hoops on Twitter with an underscore at the end. But tweeting a lot, posting on YouTube a lot. Check it out. Thank you guys for having me on. This was awesome. I always love it. So.
I appreciate it. And if everyone listening, Alex's YouTube, if you want to learn about basketball, great place to go.
I appreciate that.
Yes,
that's what I strive to do. Anytime someone's like, "Oh, I learned something that I didn't know before from this video," I'm like, "Sweet, that's the coolest thing to me." So yeah,
awesome. Yeah, that's not exactly what we're going for. We're but that's okay. I love it, man. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. So that's going to do it for this one, Jake. In the words of Ben, love your work, mate. I'll see you guys later.